So guys, this northern elder has come hard on Tinubu after the video we all saw on the arraignment of northern teens in the court and how those children were looking. He has come out and he's not, holding back his anger. He said Tinubu's government is trying to terrorize them. So it means Tinubu's government is now a terrorist to the northern parts of the country. He even argued, saying that their children are even more safer in the hands of bandits than in the hands of the Tinubu's government. And also, he went ahead to say that the Tinubu's government is feeling insecure. That is why they are doing all this, meaning Tinubu is afraid of any military takeover, and that is why they are doing all these things. That Tinubu is feeling insecure because of what they know they have done to this country called Nigeria. So guys, you need to take a look at some of these hard words that this man used. Take a look.
This government is so jumpy and insecure because of what it's doing to this country. This is clearly, there's no two-way about it. This is clearly the government trying to terrorize us and terrorize the most vulnerable amongst us, our children, and decriminalizing legitimate protests in this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is, unfortunately for us, the case we saw, arraigned by the Minister of Justice to a federal court. They look much worse than what we always get from bandits. So bandits take care of children better than our government. Fellow Nigerians, these children, over 2,000 protesters were arrested.
So guys, so many people are even saying that it serves the North best, because they were still the people who promoted the Muslim ticket. They were the ones that said, instead of giving, leadership to somebody from the Southeast, it will not happen. And now they are reaping what they sow, and they are reaping bitterly. You can imagine him saying that Tinubu appears to be terrorizing them in the North. That language alone is very, very hard. So I want you to take a look at this video in full and drop your honest reaction as to what you think, seeing that the North is now lamenting when even this man himself, he supported Atiku. After Buhari had 8 years as a northerner, as a Fulani man, he supported another Fulani man for another 4 years. Possibly Atiku will even want to serve 8 years if he had won. So you can imagine that even though the North has had the most of power, they've spent more time in leadership in this country, you can see the level of poverty, the level of illiteracy and all that ravaging the North. So guys, we all know that nobody is in support of how the federal government handled these children. In short, everybody is commenting that it doesn't worth it, and it does not give Nigeria a good image. So guys, let me just allow you to take a look at what this northern elder said. Take a look.
On the implications of, prosecuting minors, especially in this case where we see the End Bad Governance protesters. What are your views on the legality and the ethics of charging these young protesters with treason?
The image of Nigeria and this government is dented by this. For us in the North, this is clearly reminiscent of the days when you have mass school abductions by bandits. And we bring them out in this large number. Unfortunately for us, the case we saw, arraigned by the Minister of Justice to a federal court, they look much worse than what we always get from bandits. So bandits take care of children better than our government. Fellow Nigerians, these children, over 2,000 protesters were arrested during NSAS, during this End Bad Government protest. A protest that is a legitimate right of every citizen. Many were kept without their parents knowing where they were. They were blindfolded. We are getting reports from those who were released. They were blindfolded and transported and detained in centers across the North. These children, and I had the interview of their lawyer, there are 45 minors in this collection of children that were brought to court. These children were brought from Kano, from Kaduna, from Jos, from Gombe to Abuja. What were their crimes? Alleged crimes? Oh, treason, trying to incite mutiny and change of government by the military, waving Russian flag, causing a regime change. These children you saw, this government is so jumpy and insecure because of what it's doing to this country. This is clearly, there's no two way about it. This is clearly the government trying to terrorize us and terrorize the most vulnerable amongst us, our children, and decriminalizing legitimate protests in this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a beneficiary of protest and agitation in this country. And what his government is doing is clearly trying to stifle any voice. And the voices of children, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's not only our commander-in-chief, but to a nation that is signatory to treaties all over the world in protecting the rights of children. He's also the chairman of ECOWAS. What is he going to tell them? What is he going to tell them? This is a bloody blow and a huge shame to this country, that we're doing this to our children by the government. By the government. When we collect these children from bandits, we take them to hospital and take care of them. But what did President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government do to these children that collapsed in the court of law? They took them back to jail. They took them back to jail. And what did the Attorney General do when he came out? Oh, the Attorney General said he's going to recall the file. Excuse me, Mr. Attorney General, there's no file to recall. What we Nigerians demand is immediate and unconditional release of all of these children. They need to be taken care of in the hospital. They need to be better nourished. All their medical issues need to be taken care of. They need to be fully compensated for the pain and suffering this government has caused them. And their parents need to be fully compensated. And full investigation must be done as to who is responsible. And the police. The Inspector General of Police must take full responsibility for this. Because this dastardly act was done on his watch. We are hearing reports that the police abduct children from these cities in the north, Kano, Katsina, Kaduna, Jos, and Gombe, and illegally transported them for rendition here in Abuja on known locations. Many of their parents do not know where they were. Their appearance in court was the first time they saw them. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this action is clearly terrorizing our citizens with the full complicity of the security services that swore to protect us and the court that swore to uphold the law. This is unacceptable and it's not going to be accepted. The law is a noble profession and I salute, and every Nigerian should salute the efforts of the lawyers of these children who doggedly and pro bono defended these children. And without them, we would not have known this. In the same breath, I am going to condemn, and every Nigerian should condemn the actions, the callous actions of the prosecuting lawyer and the prosecuting judge. The law, like medicine, is common sense. The judge should have known that these children needed medical care, not to be left laying on the floor in a court of law. Where are they? How many have died? How many are going to die? We need to have a full account of this. These children must be reunited with their families and fully compensated. And the president needs to address this nation and stop this criminality we are seeing. It's not acceptable.
Okay. All right, Prof. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Osman Yusuf. But two things from me, because I'd like you to look at the issues from two clear areas. First will be, in spite of the uproar that this has rightly generated, but first will be that, yes, minors have been paraded and the whole world is basically saying that this is not right. But what about those who are not minors there, who participated during that protest and who, according to police, destroyed public property, burned down public institutions, burned down houses, destroyed cars, etc.? Are you also saying that their atrocities should be ignored? That's one. And the second part will be that the minors that are there, sadly, in large numbers, who obviously were on the street on the days that this protest happened in August, do you think that that speaks to a larger concern, particularly in the north, about out-of-school children, and the mere fact that on a day that they were meant to be in school, it was easy for them to be taken, to join the bandwagon of the protest, and by the time that it descended into chaos, they became willing tools. So do you think that this should be an opportunity for the authorities, government, state government, local government, etc., to look deeper into the more concerning or equally concerning issue of out-of-school children, particularly in the north?
You are preaching to the choir, but you are not going to give any excuse to anybody for this nonsense we're saying. Nobody, no government should be responsible for what we are seeing. So out of school, in school is no excuse for this. There are those that we elected in states and federal that are supposed to take care of these children, and they are the ones you should bring to this chair and ask those questions of. I am here to protest against what the federal government has done to our children. You are a baby, you are a 90-year-old, you have the right to protest. And nobody should criminalize protest. And that is what this government is doing. So no excuse. Give nobody any excuse for this. You want to talk about out-of-school children, we'll make it another day. Or call the governors of all the states. But don't make that as an excuse. I know you're not holding forth for any government. But no government should give us any excuse for what we've seen. For what we've seen. I'm not talking the legal. There are lawyers to do that. I'm here to talk about the fundamental human rights of these children that have been violated. I'm here to talk about children should not have been there. I'm here to talk about if there are problems in Kano, Katsina, or Kano, it should be prosecuted there. Not children blindfolded and transported in the middle of the night in Black Maria by Gestapo police to Abuja. It's not acceptable. And the world should know that. And we must all raise our voices. That is why I'm here. Next question, please.
Okay, so thank you for joining us this morning, Professor Usman Yusuf. Now, beyond the fact that Nigeria is a signatory to different international treaties that protect children, we do have a Child Rights Act. And the Child Rights Act also has stated that children are exempt from this type of persecution, that they have freedom to, they have certain protections that are outlined for children. Now, that is in Section 255. Now, that does not come into consideration when we talk about treason. And these children are being accused of treason for raising Russian flag. Now, some Nigerians are wondering if there are Russian flags, if there is terrorism, if there is someone pushing for a change in regime, will it be these children, these malnourished children on the streets of Nigeria, or would it be some type of higher power? And if that is the case, should our security services not then be focused on these individuals who might be pushing children? Because another question is, what would these children know about Russian interference in Africa? So I want to ask you that. But also the second issue at hand today is the VAT tax. The VAT tax bill, there has been pushback by some governors in the north, particularly because they want to change the way it is remitted or the way the VAT sharing formula. Some people argue that a lot of the products we get from the north, such as food, are tax exempt, and so it will be unfair to the north. But some people also argue that the sharing formula we have right now is unfair to the south, in that in the sharing formula has a lot of the VAT that's gotten from items sold in the south and then they're remitted to the north. So what's your take on the pushback from the northern governors in terms of that? And what's your take on these young children on the streets of Nigeria who are victims of, some of them victims of insecurity themselves, some of them possibly orphaned from the Boko Haram insurgency? What's your take on their understanding of what treason would be, of Russian influence in Africa?
Right. I mean, why the children are there is the failure of government at all levels. Local, federal, and state, and the failure of state, of communities. We all went to school. Our parents were not wealthy. From the commonwealth of our people, our education was paid for. We went into the world and competed favorably because leaders of that time invested in us. That is why today, each time we raise our hands, we pray for three people. Our parents departed, our teachers that taught us well, and our leaders that invested in us. You can say the same of the leaders of today. It is the failing of government, it is the failure of leadership that we have these children all over. The last Minister of Education, Adamu said he has been the longest serving Minister of Education. He's not proud of it because during his time we have over 20 million Nigerian children out of school. So it's the failure of government, and that's what we've been talking about. Corruption and bad governance, this is what we see on steroids since the arrival of democracy in this country. Back to VAT debate. Yeah, northern governors met in Kaduna to talk about VAT. Oh, and they want to accrue more money. Let me say that. They were not there for God and country or for the region. They were collecting there because they're not going to get more money. But this is the honest truth about VAT. People that know it. VAT is a consumption tax. If Dangote now has a factory, cement factory in Abajana, Kogi State, he doesn't pay VAT in Kogi, he pays VAT in Lagos because Lagos is his headquarters. Many of the oil companies are in Niger Delta, are in the Delta region. That's where they have their operations. But their headquarters are in Lagos, they pay VAT to Lagos. What has Lagos done to earn that? So Lagos is getting all of that money. And now you're saying, oh yeah, that money is ours, that money is ours. No, it isn't. Lagos is what it is today thanks to the Nigeria's Commonwealth. All the infrastructures were built by Nigerian Commonwealth. The ports, the bridges, the everything. If anybody asks you, you must pay. So people need to be sensible. There is this thing they call in the old Zulu adage, Ubuntu. You are who you are because of me. It's common humanity. So this selfishness, oh, it's me, it's me, it's me, and the president is following that, it's raising antenna alarm in the north. That what the president essentially is doing is trying to pull all the resources to the southwest, particularly Lagos. Particularly Lagos. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not, but the president needs to hear the pulse of the north, the pulse of our people. Dangote is paying VAT in Lagos with his factories in the north. So all that, yes, and the president has sent a bill. Has sent a bill to the House about his tax reform. That is his right as the executive. But it is the right of our representatives. And we're watching them very closely. It is the right of our representatives to fight for us and kill that bill if it does not do well for the people they are representing. End of story. There is no argument. There is no argument. This is what democracy is. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his own cannot do things without reverting back to the House. And we have our representatives there that we will hold accountable. That's how much I will say about this.
So guys, you have seen it. I don't know what you make of all this. So many people have lamented, so many people have reacted, so many people have even, bashed at the northerners that they are even the cause of the suffering we are suffering today. Because guess what? The INEC chairman is from the north. It is still Buhari who determined that he was going to hand over to Tinubu because of their deal. Tinubu said, go, after you finish serving, it will be my turn. And guess what? The INEC chairman, who is also from the north, is the one that was used to do all the gbasgbos that they did during the election. And now the north is crying. Who do they expect to come out to help them? The north is crying. They are criticizing Buhari because Buhari has majority of the Yorubas in key positions. The same thing Tinubu did during his time. He put his own people all around the places, and people were like, this is the highest level of marginalization of a particular set of people. And the same route Tinubu is taking. Now the question remains, does it mean the north is now regretting ever voting for Tinubu? Does it mean their eyes are getting clearer? This man used a hard term. He said Tinubu's government appears to be terrorizing them. So you can imagine. So recently, a northern elder has been championing these plans for the north to secede. They said they want the north to be separated from Nigeria. And guess what? Recently, we also saw them trying to pass a bill, for Islamization and Sharia law to be a thing that has to affect everybody. And the question remains, is this country even united? This country, no doubt things are not working. Things are not working in this country because the level of unity is really so low, and we still think we are a country. A whole lot has to be fixed. So going back to what Tinubu did, especially that because it has to do with children, everybody must condemn that. You can't believe seeing little children being held in detention for how many months. Some of them, they appear so sick, they appear so weak, they appear so frail, they are not even fit for them to face trial. And the judges or the attorney general or whoever is in charge did not even take cognizance of all that. They went ahead to bring these children to court. And at the end of the day, guess what? These children were not even released. You know, these children were denied bail because they didn't meet the bail conditions. Tell me where a poor northerner is going to get 10 million naira. It means that these children may not even come out of jail in the next 1 year, because there are families that will not be able to afford 10 million naira, you know, to set their children free. There are possibly the parents to these children have never seen 10 million naira in all their lives. And they are now being asked to raise 10 million naira to ensure their children get out of jail. So because they couldn't, I don't think any of them was able to meet the jail term. So they were all sent back to prison. And the government has not even said anything as to whether there are plans to release them